You don't have to do the analysis on whether it makes a true threat under the criminal laws. If you feel threatened, please report so law enforcement can assess.
The U.S. Attorney, FBI, and UAPD say they're looking closely at all threats they find. This comes after a conviction in the case of a man who used Snapchat to threaten a mass shooting at the U of A. Sentencing for the man who threatened a mass shooting highlights how local and federal authorities are now responding to such behavior. Michael Penchung Lee was arrested last fall after making threats on Snapchat about targeting sororities and fraternities. A 13 News reporter J.D. Wallace is live downtown at federal court with details on the sentencing and how new threats are being investigated with a greater depth and speed. J.D.
Val, Lee's arrest came just days after students reported his threats back in October. Minutes after his sentencing today, the U.S. Attorney, FBI, and the UAPD said this is just the beginning of a partnership that will respond to reports of threats and has done so since.
This case is a great example of the shared responsibility and the coordinated efforts by local and federal law enforcement to keep our communities safe.
UAPD Chief Chris Olson is referring to Michael Penchung Lee being sentenced to 16 months in prison. Arrested in October, he pleaded guilty in April for making threats of a mass shooting on Snapchat, which is considered interstate communication. Lee is not a student at the university, but expressed a desire to get revenge on all the Chads and Stacys. Students reported the comments, and federal agents suspected Lee meant members of fraternities and sororities. UAPD used its license plate reader to see that Lee's vehicle had been seen on University Greek Row almost every night from October 11th to the 20th last year between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Many of our cases start with public information, tips, people who are out there who hear or see something and take steps to save lives. You made the difference in this case.
You don't have to do the analysis on whether it makes a true threat under the criminal laws. If you feel threatened, please report so law enforcement can assess.
U.S. Attorney Gary Restaino, FBI Acting Assistant Special Agent in Charge Jason Alexander, and Chief Olson highlighted the more recent arrest by the FBI's Southern Arizona Violent Crime and Gang Task Force of Caleb Tift on charges of cyberstalking and threatening a student on Facebook Messenger. Olson said the U of A Threat Assessment and Management Team provides rapid analysis and response to threats, something that might have prevented the fatal shooting of Dr. Tom Meixner by expelled grad student Murad Dervish October 2022, who was sentenced to life last week. They consider Lee's sentencing and Tift's arrest examples of threats blocked from becoming reality.
This case, the Caleb Tift case, and other cases that we're monitoring are good examples of how this process and system is working. It's robust, we're diligent, with an incredible sense of urgency. All of this is a result of what happened in October of 2022.
We would rather run down a lead that ends in nothing than miss one that ends in the loss of life.
Lee has already served 8 of his 16-month sentence in prison. After that, he'll have 3 years of supervised release. That includes no contact with the University of Arizona, means no messaging, and certainly no entering campus. Reporting live from downtown, J.D. Wallace, 13 News.